everybody, and welcome to the public meeting of the Victoria and Espanol Police Board on January 20th. I'd like to start by calling the meeting to order this evening at 5:10 and handing it over to my colleague, board member Charlene Law, to provide our territorial acknowledgement.
Thank you. We respectfully acknowledge we are in the unceded territory of the Algonquin peoples, including the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. We express our gratitude to be living and moving on this land.
Thank you very much. Now I'll move on to item 8. I'm going to just look around and see if there are any declarations of conflict of interest. No, seeing none, I'll move along and I will look to adopt the public agenda of January 20th, 2026. Good. Do you have a second? Andrea, any changes, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Great. And I am going to look for a motion to adopt. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to move on, sorry, to item D, which is the board chair update. Most of my updates I'm going to give to you later on in the agenda and items F and G, but I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that this is Inspector Brown's last meeting, and I've got our chief and our governance chair, Paul Farrow, to just make a comment about that. Who wants to go first?
I can go first. I was going to include this in my chief update, but I really did want to just recognize Inspector Brown's long service here at Big PD. And really, I can only speak for the last couple of months, Colin, but my interactions with you have just been really exceptional. You clearly brought so much to the table here at Big PD. The fact that you have your law degree, that you are so incredibly knowledgeable with respect to the Police Act, and also just incredibly hardworking and generous with your time. You certainly made my arrival here a lot easier. And I just really want to commend you on what I know has been a really impressive career and, you know, for many years of dedication to Big PD. So thank you for that. We wish you all the very, very best in retirement. And, you know, you will always, always be part of the Big PD family. So thanks very much.
Over to you.
And just on behalf of the board and particularly the governance committee, which you have guided along with just done a fantastic job helping me as a new chair and the governance committee navigating the world of the Police Act, all of the PD policies. Colin, you've been a huge asset to the governance committee, to this board, and I would say to the citizens of Victoria. Certainly wish you all the best in the world of retirement or whatever you're going to take on. I can welcome you to the club. It's a very good club. I highly recommend it. But thank you everything you've done for this department. You will be missed. Thank you very much.
May I just add that it has always been very refreshing when you have made a personal commitment to go and speak with citizens and explain where we come from and what policing is about. I just wanted to again echo the gratitude for all that you have done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Kim. We will skip over item E as we have no committee updates this month. And we will move on to F, board member engagement update. Are there any board members who have anything to offer that they would like to share about anything independent on behalf of the board this month? Oh.
Well, just I think there was some board members just since our last meeting. We had a December 18th. We had a Big PD promotion for the sergeants, a new process, and that was certainly it was awesome to see that a new process come into turn. And so it was nice to be able to participate in that. And as well, just recently we had another Big PD swearing in ceremony for new recruits. I believe it was eight. Okay, I was paying attention. I'm always amazed at the level of caliber of people that are coming to wanting to work here and be part of this department. The spectrum of experience that people bring to the table is just, it's mind-boggling. It's impressive that people are coming to work here with that incredible high level of experience, life skills, and knowledge, and we are very lucky to for all of the people that have said, I want to come and work here. And I welcome certainly these new recruits. They're going to be a great asset to our family. So those are my updates from where I was hanging out.
Thank you very much, Paul. And I just want to acknowledge how there has been a shift in the swearing in ceremonies and other events at Big PD that are just, so they're so warm and welcoming and family oriented. And this particular group of recruits, I think, might have had the cutest children. Like a real giant batch of babies and children doing cute things, being cute, being held by the chief. I think we should get like tiny children badges for the swearing in ceremonies. But it's been really, I've always enjoyed attending them, but they've been even more special lately. So I want to appreciate that. Anything else from the board? Great, thanks. I'm going to move on to the BC Association of Police Board update. You'll notice that in your in-camera package, you had a document to review for the renewal for our BCAPB membership. That should have been put in the public package. It's pretty straightforward. It is our annual opportunity to renew our membership to the BC Association of Police Boards. It's $1,385 and it provides extraordinary support for boards and in BC. So I don't know if we need to have any discussion about that or just move forward with the motion. Daniel?
I'm willing to support the motion that moves forward with renewing the membership at the price plan of $1,300, $1,385 for the next.
Seconded. Holly, any discussion? All those in favor? Gary, thank you. So Pam, if you don't have to do that when you have time, that's wonderful. And just another quick update on BCAPB. So the registration for the conference will come out in May. We're just finalizing the agenda, or sorry, will come out in 2 weeks. We're just finalizing the agenda. The conference is May 20th to 22nd. I really encourage everyone in this room to attend who can, but specifically our board members. If you are interested in attending, please email me so that as soon as the agenda comes out, we're going to be able to put forward a motion and have a discussion related to that. So just let me know if you have interest in attending that. That conference is in Whistler, held at the Delta. It's very masterfully organized by people and it's going to have really great content. And obviously you might want to wait and see the agenda before you really put your hand up for it. But if you can let me know, just even if you're expressing interest and available to attend for the full time of the conference, that would be great.
Out of curiosity, before the agenda comes out, when does the program usually run until on the last day?
Halfway through the day so that people can get home on the day. Yeah. And it is jam-packed, but not in such a way that you won't be able to manage your other work commitments and recognizing that all board members are volunteers and needing the ability to manage all the perks that are like politics. So, any other questions on that? No, thank you. I'll just give a quick update from the Canadian Association of Police Governance. I keep talking about how we're getting a new website and it's finally soft launched. The pictures are still old, but we will fully launch that in 2 weeks. I encourage everyone to check it out in the meantime. CAPG.ca. It has a lot of functions and features that are valuable to board members across the country, including my favorite page on it was an acronym Bible. So it has acronyms for all the police organizations across the country for people to review. It's where all the webinars will be held. There'll be a lot of interactive features moving forward. So it's a real positive step for police governance nationally and for us to be able to be connected in that capacity. And that is all for those. I will hand it over to the chief for Chief Constable update.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. As Paul mentioned, I participated in a number of swearing in and recognition events during this period, including the promotion of sergeants and staff sergeants on December 18th, and the swearing in of a temporary constable on December 31st, our very first. Sean Millard came back to Vic PD and is now out in patrol, in the patrol division, working on the front line in uniform. We also swore in 8 new police officers on January 8th. And, you know, these are important reminders of the professionalism of our members and the continued investment in policing capacity for both Victoria and Esquimalt. And, you know, there's some of my favorite events, particularly the swearing in of new recruits, but also those promotional events where we're celebrating some of the police leaders that we have within the organization. I also met with Ms. Hillary Jordan during this reporting period. She is the wife of Constable Ian Jordan, who is a Vic PD officer who was critically injured on duty in a car incident, a vehicle collision, rather, in 1987. He lived in a coma as a result of that incident for several decades and passed away in 2018. And I really wanted to meet with her because I know that Constable Jordan's time here at Vic PD and the legacy he left is something that our members still talk about. And I think it's really important for us to remember and acknowledge the long-term impact of line of duty death like that. And so I just wanted to meet with her to express our organization's gratitude and respect, and to make sure that she remembered that she is always a part of this family. And she will be attending some of our social events moving forward. Along with Sergeants Justin Monroe and Matthew King, I visited the Child and Youth Advocacy Center on December 18th. This is an incredible resource for kids who have found themselves victim of sexual abuse and abuse. Their work intersects really closely with us, of course, but also victim support. So it was really nice to go and meet the folks that have fostered such strong relationships with Vic PD and the work that we do here with respect to child victims. I also did a number of media interviews to provide information and clarity to the public, and thanks to Director Parton for facilitating those. We are also going to work on introducing more of our senior leadership team to the media as we move forward, so that there is work that goes on throughout different ranks in this department with the media, so it's not always falling to the chief's office or the deputy chief's office. And we'll be facilitating some training around that as well, so that everyone is comfortable speaking to the media when it's with respect to a matter that falls under their command. I'm going to leave the discussion about beat teams, which, as many of you know, we stood up in the last couple of weeks here at Vic PD to Deputy McRae. On January 15th, the Independent Investigation Office completed a review of an incident that involved Vic PD officers following the arrest of an individual who sustained injuries during transport. The IIO determined that the injuries were self-inflicted and found no connection between the actions of the Vic PD officers and the injuries that were sustained, so they were cleared with respect to that matter. I spoke publicly about serious pedestrian-related collisions that occurred during this reporting period. I'm just trying to remind people who are in vehicles, who are on foot, who are on bikes and on scooters, to be really mindful of how they're proceeding, slow down a bit, and also to be really thoughtful about the driving conditions that they find themselves in. And then last Saturday, I had the pleasure of spending some time at the Victoria Police Athletic Association Youth Basketball Tournament at St. Michael's. And you know, it was such a fun event. It was actually quite a nail biter. The last game went into double overtime. But what was really extraordinary about it is it goes over 3 days. It's in its 53rd year. It is entirely organized by Vic PD members through the Athletic Association. And there are a whole pile of members who volunteer their time, some go on duty, and to make this happen. And it really was quite a spectacular event. And there's another tournament, a basketball tournament at Oak Bay High this weekend called Empower Her, which is focused on senior and junior girls playing basketball. So it's just one of so many events that happen in this organization that are facilitated through the leadership and volunteerism of our members here at Vic PD. And 53 years running is really, really quite something. There were tons of family members, friends. There were 2 gyms with games going on in both, and awards presented, and many, many teams that participated. So it was a really neat community event. Overall, it's been a busy reporting period the last couple of weeks, particularly since the beginning of the month. And I'm just really incredibly proud of the work that has happened here under the command of the various inspectors and of course the deputy chiefs, and continue to be incredibly proud to be the chief of Vic PD. Thank you very much.
That is a good update. Thanks very much, Chief, and I will hand it over to Deputy Chief Constable Judy.
Thank you, Chair, and if it's okay, I'll just actually move on to the first item of new business, because my update is going to encompass the BEAT deployment that we've recently rolled out. So as you, I'm sure, have seen, because we had a very good public event last week, we are very happy to have now rolled out a dedicated BEAT team here at Vic PD, as well as 2 officers dedicated to our bylaw. This is in the support of the City of Victoria's Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, and we appreciate the City of Victoria that they helped provide the funding, or provided us with the funding for this dedicated resources. This is the first time in a number of years we've had dedicated BEAT officers. Within the BEAT team, we have 1 sergeant and 6 constables, and within the bylaw support, we have 2 constables working. The number of interactions that they had with the public in their first week, I got a very short update from them, was nothing short of outstanding. Everything from checking in with community partners, dealing with drug use on the street, warrant arrests, some weapon seizures, and some just good positive interaction, even with members of the street community who I think some members of the public sometimes feel we don't have a good relationship with, but we often have a very good relationship with. We know them well and on a first name basis. And this allows us again to proceed in a better way, where we're actually improving those relationships and extending them even further. So very happy with the start. I just quick thank you to Human Resources, who had to do a lot of maneuvering in order to make sure that all the resources were in place within this time frame. And additionally, Inspector Gubbins from the Patrol Division, who helped also make this happen and is helping with the overall deployment. So excellent work, and look forward to seeing how this looks in 3, 6, and 9 months from now. But I can say from the start, I'm already really happy with what we're seeing. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much for the update. So we have one more item under new business, the update on the decriminalization pilot project and impact on members. So over to you.
Thank you. So many of you would have seen in the media that the Minister of Health decided not to ask for an extension to the Section 56 exemption, which originally took place in January 31st of 2023 in his province. And that was the decriminalization of 2.5 grams or less of illicit drugs, with the exception originally of 6 locations where that was not allowed. And then due to advocacy, there were another 3 exceptions to the exemption that were added. And then in April of 2024, primarily through advocacy from police, the exemption was largely rolled back, and there were only 3 places left where the exemption actually applied. In a private residence, if someone was lawfully sheltering overnight, or in a health facility, many of which already had Section 56 exemptions in any event. So really, the dramatic change for police happened in April of 2024. However, one of the things that happened with the decriminalization project was that it was incredibly confusing. It was confusing for people who use drugs, it was confusing for the public, and it was confusing for police. So initially, there's 6 exceptions to the exemption. Then there were an additional 3 added, so there were 9. Then in the midst of all of that, we were working on public use legislation that was subjected to an interlocutory injunction at the time. So it never came into effect, but it was widely publicized. And then in April of 2024, a large part of the exemption was rolled back, but there were still 3 exceptions that existed. So it was very, very confusing. And so one of my main goals since I landed here in September was to make sure that our members understood what their lawful authority was to approach somebody on the street who is using drugs in problematic circumstances. That they did not have to drive by someone who was smoking fentanyl on the sidewalk. And so we've been working with operations primarily to roll out that training to make sure that our members are clearly aware of what their lawful authorities are under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act with respect to Section 401, which is for simple possession. So, and I think that has led to quite a difference in terms of how our members are interacting with people on the street. Having said that, there's no expectation that more people are going to end up in jail by virtue of their substance use disorder. So there's this space between our lawful authority when we have reasonable grounds to believe that an individual is in possession of illicit drugs of any quantity, and requesting charges to Crown Counsel. So we can approach somebody who's smoking fentanyl on the street, and indeed I did this just a few weeks ago, and we can arrest them, we can advise them of their charter rights, we can search them incident to that lawful arrest, we can query their name to make sure they have no warrants, no conditions that they're breaching, and then we can use our discretion to determine how we're going to proceed. In very, very, very rare circumstances, because of direction we've received from Crown, and because of sections 10.1 to 10.4 in the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, we are going to request charges with respect to that simple possession. It almost never happens. So there's a way for us to send a clear message about what's acceptable on the streets in our cities and what's not, without increasing the need to introduce people to the criminal justice system. And we've been trying to make that very clear to our frontline members. Use your discretion. I checked a woman just a couple of weeks ago who was smoking fentanyl outside the supervised consumption site. I allowed her to keep her drugs, but with a commitment that she was going to go inside and use them in an environment that was safe. Some members may decide, depending on the circumstances, to seize those drugs, but we also understand that there's harm done in that action as well. So I trust our members to use their discretion, but it is quite a change, not so much as a result of the end of the decriminalization pilot project, but more reinforcing of reminder to our members about what their lawful authorities under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act actually are. So I think that will help us provide more clarity when we're interacting with people who are using drugs in problematic circumstances, but also to address some of the street disorder issues that we've heard loud and clear are really challenging in the city, and particularly in Victoria, but also in Esquimalt. And happy to answer any questions on that, but it's one of the reasons why I've spent quite a bit of time engaged with media on this particular topic, because it does tend to be quite confusing. And of course, the expiry of the pilot project, everybody is saying, well, what impact does this have on police? The reality is that's not what has the most impact on police. The biggest impact on police happened in April of 2024 when we got those lawful authorities back in most cases. But happy to answer any questions and just wanted to provide the board in general with an update on that.
Thank you very much for the update. Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
Thank you for that. You've mentioned that there is additional training. What does that look like and how much of it are we expecting for membership?
That's a great question. Thank you. And maybe I could turn it over to Inspector Gibbons to respond to that. Don't forget, this is not new material. This is reminding our members about what lawful authorities they have. So Bill, would you mind speaking to that?
Sure. So in the patrol division, where the majority of our frontline officers work, there's obviously some of the community services division as well. We go out daily on beats and in patrols. We're having contact with these individuals in circumstances where they are using drugs. And we want to give clear direction to our members that they can enforce the CDSA and use discretion appropriately. Because of the confusion in the public, there is confusion amongst the using group in public as well. The fact that someone would smoke fentanyl outside of the safe consumption site just is a bit of an indicator to tell you how the slippery slope works, right? So when we can have a positive interaction with that individual and advise them, go somewhere where it's safe, go somewhere with a friend where you can use your substances safely, not in the public where we're going to receive complaints about that. It impacts businesses, it impacts people coming and going from the city, and it also impacts marginalized people trying to access resources in some of these areas like the 900 block of Pandora, McMorran Street corridor in the downtown area. So with Inspector King, with Staff Sergeant Musico, we have some training rolling out to our frontline members to remind them of their powers under the CDSA, as well as their responsibility to exercise discretion in appropriate circumstances. Those are the goals of the training. We've hired a lot of officers in the last few years. Some started during decriminalization, and their training at the JIBC was even complicated as well. So it's a bit of a reset, to be completely honest, and we're ready to move forward with that.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Oh,
Well, just if I may, first off, I just want to go back to the beat cops. I'm downtown quite a lot, and it is noticeable seeing the presence of like I just like I see them everywhere, which is great. It's just that it just seems there's a good energy, I think, from that. I think it's very, very positive. And it's really not for this meeting, but Chair, I'm going to just take given that FIFA is coming up in Vancouver in the days ahead, I'm wondering if not tonight, but at a future next board meeting, if we could get the board could get an update on Vic PD's role in the sense of FIFA, but I'm more looking at it from the financial implications for Vic PD. Wanting to know who's going to be picking up the costs for those costs, and just that it's coming up very quickly. And I'm sure that I suspect that the whole issue of security is going to be bubbling in British Columbia in the next week. So I'm just trying to preempt that. If we can have that maybe at the next board meeting, I think that would be very, very useful. So that's a request through the chair.
that's great. Thank you very much.
And we can absolutely present at the next board meeting
Thank you,
on
Chief.
FIFA.
Thank you very much. No further questions on that topic? And I will hand it over to our governance chair, Paul Farrell, for a rise report.
Perfect. Thanks. Thank you, Chairperson. The board has passed a motion that will be changing the way that we deal with servicer policy complaints, and more in particular how we process them. And effectively, starting in February, the board will be adding a standing agenda item titled Servicer Policy Complaints within the board meeting structure. If in fact there is a requirement to hold such a meeting, it will happen after the public meeting component, starting at possibly at 6 o'clock tentatively. This will deal with outstanding servicer policy complaints that will be dealt with in the public meeting, and we'll do so where we are legally permissible with all the appropriate redactions consistent with the Police Act and the board's protocol for processing servicer policy complaints. And I should note though that the board to direct the preliminary discussion regarding the admissibility process or sensitive information continue to be addressed in camera where required. Again, we'll be following all required legislation on that. And again, this new process will take place at our February board meeting if in fact we have servicer policy complaint to deal with. We're very fortunate here in Victoria that we don't have many servicer policy complaints. So, but it's what we're trying to do is when we do have to process them, that they are dealt with as much as we can in the public setting. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Just before we adjourn the meeting, I want to make a note publicly and just remind our board members that while we typically have our board meetings on the third Tuesday of every month, we are having it the week following next month, so February 24th, as opposed to February 17th. So just to make a note of that and to advise the public in advance. Great. With that, I will adjourn the meeting. Can I take a motion to adjourn? Daniel, seconded by Tim. All those in favor? Thank you very much.